Welcome to What the Mom podcast. You are listening to Doulas Petra
and Jacqueline.
Motherhood can be isolating and hard.
We are two doulas who want to provide a safe place to talk about all things mom,
From pregnancy
to birth,
to postpartum.
to parenting.
Join us as we have real conversations about real life.
Welcome to What the Mom podcast.
You are listening to Doulas Petra
and Jacqueline. Hi, guys.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yay.
Today's topic is what to expect the first week with a newborn.
It's a good one.
We have another podcast episode. We talked about just what to expect with the newborn phase in general. But This is more of like the immediate, like when you first get home kind of time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
A little more specific.
A little bit more specific, yeah.
And I think many of these are still good to remind yourselves of, even if it's not your first baby, because they can still happen.
Yeah. It's a good point.
Yeah. So, number one, in no particular order, it's not like most important to least or anything like that, just kind of random, is your first ride in a vehicle with a newborn is going to make you a little bit anxious.
Absolutely.
So that could be if you had a hospital birth, that first ride home. And if you had a home birth, then just the first time you leave the house and you drive somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was definitely, for me, it was nerve-wracking because I had 2 home births. And so we didn't leave for a while. And then with my third, it was a transfer. We weren't sure what was going to happen. And then it just happened to be minus 40 the night we had to drive home. And my husband was definitely nervous about that, especially with just like driving on, like in a vehicle. But not only that, like if something happened, if the car broke down, like, yeah, we had a newborn and it was just, it's just a lot.
That would be even harder.
It was so hard. Yeah.
I remember my first birth was in a hospital, and I remember driving home and I sat in the back seat right beside the baby, and my husband drove, and he had some fluid in his lungs still, which is normal. It can happen. And so sometimes it'd sound like he was choking. And it freaked me out because then I'm like, I don't know. Do we have to stop and take him out of the car seat? Do I have to worry that he's actually choking? I didn't really know because I didn't know that could happen. As much research as I did before I had this baby, I didn't know. So that was super freaky. And then our others, like I still kind of, they had a little bit, but not near as much as him. And then like if they end up spitting up when they're in their car seat.
Yeah, you're afraid they're going to choke on it. I know. Yeah. All the time. It's funny. I did ride in the back too. Like, I think that's just a mom instinct. Like,
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's common for moms to feel very anxious that first ride with the baby.
Absolutely.
And it could even be not even just the first ride, just like driving in general with that baby for the first little bit,
till you get used to it. Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess just before you get into the vehicle, mentally prepare yourself for this. And I think that's like all you could do, because you kind of have to get in a vehicle at some point to be able to get from point A to point B, because we don't live in these little villages anymore where everything is within walking distance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So then number 2 is expect lots of snuggles, because babies need lots of touch.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Which is, this one is kind of more of a good one for the most part, but it is possible to get touched out and feel like you just want space and you just, it's too much. That is possible. It's a real thing, especially if this is not your first baby. and you have other
Yeah.
children
Who
that are
want your
still young.
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, like the babies in your belly for how long, they love the closeness. They love to hear your heartbeat. So you might have a baby that you put down and then they start to cry, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's super normal to have that. Doesn't necessarily mean your baby's colicky. They miss that connection and hearing your heart and stuff. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they don't know anything except that.
That's
So
all they
really,
know. Yeah,
mhm.
exactly.
Yeah. So you'll be holding your baby while you're feeding them, whether you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding. You'll be holding them if you end up baby wearing, if you choose to do that. You'll be holding them
Yeah.
to just comfort them if they're crying, maybe to try to get them to sleep if they seem like they're kind of tired or grumpy or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just going to want to hold your baby in the beginning because you have this tiny little baby and you smell them and you're like, oh, like they have that newborn smell.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something I think that's instinctual for most moms to want to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So you
And
will
if you
be,
get touched out and
yeah,
it's like hard to hold on to the baby when you're like cleaning or trying to get things done, yeah, baby wearing is the best option.
it is, yeah. And we do have a whole episode on baby
Yeah.
wearing as well.
Yeah.
If you haven't
Absolutely. So
listened to
check
that
that
one,
out.
then yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Point number 3, babies eat lots at
Oh
first.
gosh.
And this is important because of supply and demand. So if you want your milk to come in and you want to make sure you have plenty supply, you want to make sure you are breastfeeding on demand. The old beliefs of like only feed the baby every, I don't know how many hours or something is kind of ridiculous. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to have the best chance at success of breastfeeding, honestly, it's just demand.
Yeah, absolutely.
The baby seems hungry, you breastfeed them. They need to be comforted, you breastfeed them. That gives you the
Yeah.
best chances of having good supply.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the same thing. And it might feel like they're always on there at some points. And yeah,
Mhm.
that's super normal. They call it cluster feeding too. And it's like
Well, they do that so much in the beginning. Yeah.
they do it so much. It's like, it's exhausting. But just know that it's not going to be forever.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's just a little part of the newborn phase, but
Hmm.
it
It's.
eventually will pass.
I've had so many women say to me, "Oh, I don't know. Like, is this normal? My baby is eating like all the time, and they eat just constantly." And I'm like, "Yep, your baby will eat all the time, and they'll want to be held all the time. That is completely normal in the very beginning."
Yep,
And
absolutely.
this point goes definitely beyond the first week as well, though. But that
Oh,
the
yes.
first bit is when you usually notice it the most, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Mhm.
I would say for sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
And point number 4 is something, if you're a first time mom, you might not know this, but their first poop, it's called meconium. It is not a
Mhm.
normal poop. So if you're not prepared for this, it could be a little bit shocking.
You're like, why is my baby pooping tar? This is not normal, but it is.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this meconium, yeah, it's like a tarry, like really black, sticky poop. Like it's so sticky that if you don't put some kind of barrier on the baby's bum during diaper changes, it will stick to their skin and is really, really difficult to wipe off.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think hospitals will give you Vaseline to put on it. We always just use coconut oil,
Yeah.
and that worked just as well. And
Yeah.
we felt it was healthier for the baby. but you want to
Yeah.
make sure you have some kind of barrier. Every diaper change will they have that meconium.
Yeah, that's true. Gets pretty sticky.
Yeah. But then once your milk comes in, the poop starts to transition and then it will change to a different type of poo. It's not sticky anymore.
It's mustard.
For
Smells
the
like
for the
mustard.
breastfed babies, it will be, yeah. It
Yes,
smells
that's true. Yeah.
breastfed babies, their poop smells sweet. And it, yeah, like you said, it's mustard, like little seeds in it.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It is totally weird.
You're like, how did the seeds get in there? What the heck? Oh man.
And if
And
you,
then with formula, it's different. You're right.
yeah, it's still going to be more like soft and stuff, but it's, you're not going to have
It's,
form poop, but
yeah.
it's not quite as mustardy.
No, not as nice smelling.
That is true. Oh man.
Oh dear.
I always thought that breast milk poop always smells like kefir, or some people call it kefir.
Oh yeah, or kefir they call it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I always thought that it smelled like.
Really? I've never smelled it, I guess. I'd have to smell it.
See if it brings back memories for you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll have to try that.
Point number 5. It is wise to prepare food ahead of time and maybe even use
Oh yeah.
disposable dishes for that
Yeah.
first week at least.
Yeah, because you're gonna be exhausted for sure.
You just gave birth, so physically you
Yeah.
have to recover. You're, like you said, you're exhausted because you're not sleeping as much. You're constantly breastfeeding.
If you have other kids.
If you have other kids, it's a lot more even. Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is do dishes.
Yeah. Because they don't stop just because you had a baby. So, unless you have help, which is amazing if you do, but not everybody does,
Mhm.
then having disposable dishes is sometimes like a lifesaver during that time because then it's so much easier. It's like, okay, way less dishes. There's only
Yeah.
a few things to wash then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's lots of foods you can prepare ahead of time for meals and snacks.
Yeah. I would agree. Like with one of my clients, we did protein bites or whatever,
Yeah.
um, some muffins, just things that you can grab. And then if you want to make some meals,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's nice to have prepared. I've never really done that, but Petra has a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
I think she started this time already too.
No, we're actually getting another freezer to store it in first.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does help when you have things that are just ready, like to be cooked, like or put in the oven. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you make a lasagna or
Mm-hmm.
a shepherd's pie and you can just pop it in instead of having to prep it all and then cooking it.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes a little bit
Or
of help for you.
yeah, exactly. Or crock pot meals that you have
Crock pot.
everything
Yep.
you have everything cut up and put
Yeah.
into just like a big giant bag,
Yeah.
freezer bag. And then all you have to do is just dump it into your crock pot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, Soup can be frozen nicely and like flat in the freezer bags as well.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so
And then
many
you
things.
just take it out and just thaw it, get it ready.
Mhm. Yeah. I made
Easier.
my last birth. I made homemade waffles and homemade meatballs.
Yeah.
Um, you can do wraps. There's so many different types of things there. But this
Yeah.
will save you in the long run if you plan this stuff ahead of time.
Absolutely. Yep.
Mhm.
Stock that freezer before you have a baby.
Yeah. So point number 6 is during that first week, sleep will be unpredictable.
Oh gosh.
Your baby has no schedule and you will be tired. So
Oh yes.
you kind of just have to prepare for that, which is why having things like preparing the meals and stuff ahead of time can be so nice because you're just going to be so tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Babies
Absolutely.
don't even know day and night until about 3 months old. Like their circadian rhythm's just not there yet.
No. And they just get up all the time and they want to eat all the time and it doesn't
Mhm.
matter if you haven't slept.
Nope.
So just make sure you're taking care of yourself and you're hydrating and eating because that will help for sure.
Yeah.
I've been there, done that, where I've been like, oh my gosh, what did I eat today? And I'm like, oh no, like maybe a piece of toast. And that's not suffice when you're nursing a baby. So,
Nope, it's not.
gotta think about yourselves, mamas.
Yeah.
You gotta be healthy to have a healthy baby because you're nursing that baby. If you're nursing that baby, you need to make sure they're getting enough. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And you need to sleep if the baby is sleeping. Like, honestly, that is the best thing you can do. And it's so easy to say, well, maybe I'll just sleep later. Like, I want to go have a shower and I want to go watch my show and I want to visit with people and I
I
need to get up and
know.
wash the dishes. And it's like, no, all of that will be there later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
So when they are sleeping, take advantage.
yeah.
Yeah, put a movie on for the younger ones, and if that just means just like snoozing in the chair.
Mm-hmm. Wherever
Yeah,
you can catch that rest, do it.
absolutely.
Hmm. And
Good
it's
plan.
okay to limit the number of visitors you have or how long they're staying, or to, if your husband or spouse is okay with it, just say, hey, I need to go take a rest, and then they can visit and you and the baby go and have your rest. It's
Yeah,
okay to do that. If that's what you want to do,
yeah,
you're allowed.
absolutely. Your baby, your rules.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah,
Point number 7, when doing diaper changes, have a new clean diaper. Like, I suggest, like, right underneath. I put it underneath the baby and then I
yeah,
took off the old one. You want to have the new diaper ready because sometimes as soon as the cold air hits the baby, then they'll pee or poo like right away as soon as you're doing the diaper change.
that's true.
So having that extra diaper ready to go can help minimize messes. And if you're having a boy, having something to cover in case they decide that they're going to pee all over.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
We've talked about this in other episodes before, but like they have the
Yeah,
PPTPs that you can put on.
yeah, they're so funny. I probably have been somewhere too.
Yeah.
I'll try see if I can find them.
You can even just put a wipe on top or whatever, but
Or
boys,
like a cloth. Yeah,
yeah, boys tend to do it more often than girls, but girls can still do it too. It's just the boys peeing obviously is going to get all over.
yeah, that's true.
But having that new diaper prepared is always smart.
It's a good idea.
And you want to have everything like close by when you're changing because you don't want to have to leave the baby to go grab something. So like have everything ready. So have your new diaper, have your wipes, have your barrier oil or whatever you're
Yeah,
using for the meconium poops and
yeah.
stuff. Have it all ready to go before you start.
Hmm. Good plan.
And you'll probably have to change diapers um, quite often after the first few days. So I
Yeah.
think it's like, I can't remember the exact number. You have a couple the first day, and then you have, it kind of increases each day until you get to a week.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like four and five, 4 to 6, maybe
Yeah.
around there. I want to
It
say.
depends on which day you're on though.
Yeah.
but it increases throughout the
Like
week
it
of how many
increases.
poos and pees that the baby will have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just being prepared for that. And it might happen in the middle of the night. Probably will happen in the middle of the night.
All the time.
And it's best to just have like a light, like a dim light on, not put on the bright light, because then you want to try to encourage sleep, not wake baby up and say, hey, it's time to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you might never go back to sleep.
Yeah. And we talked about being tired, then you'll be really tired.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do it.
Mm-hmm. So point number 8 is be prepared that you will be bleeding quite a bit, whether you had a vaginal or a C-section birth.
Yeah.
You'll
About,
still
what is
bleed.
it, 6 weeks? Like it can be up
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. And that first week is always when it's the heaviest.
Yeah.
It's like a heavy period, and you will, or not will, it's likely that you may have some blood clots. So you just don't want them to be too big. Then you want to contact your healthcare provider. But some small blood clots can be normal.
Yeah.
If you need to verify like what's normal and what's not, just talk to your healthcare provider about it.
Yeah. And they'll tell you.
Yeah. And know that you likely will be sore too at this point.
So
How
doing
sore you are.
things, yeah.
Yeah, how sore you are will depend on the type of, like, how your birth went.
Yeah.
So if you had a vaginal birth, it's possible that you may have had some tearing. It's maybe you ended up with a hemorrhoid. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe you didn't have any of those, but you could just be sore, just because your body just did a lot.
Yeah, it goes through
Pushing this baby out.
trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for
No,
sure.
my bum is always sore right after. Like I feel like I just did this crazy workout, like glute workout.
Yeah. And you kind of did, just in a
Sort of.
different way. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you had a C-section, you're going to have different types of pains. Like you might, depending if you had any dilation beforehand, you may have pain down there as well still, but then you're going to have pain around the C-section scar area. And that's
Yeah.
a whole other healing process that you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. Which is why it's strongly encouraged to just rest. That first week, you should be doing as little as possible. Only do what you have to. Try to enjoy that time with that baby. Try to recoup and recover.
Yeah. Yeah, because you need to heal. And that's the only way you can heal
Yeah.
is if you take that time to, just relax. Yep. Gotta take care of yourselves.
It's true.
Very important.
Point number 9 is you will likely be hungry, especially if
Oh,
you are
God.
breastfeeding. Then you'll be really hungry.
Constantly.
Yeah.
For real.
So having snacks and water to stay hydrated at hand
Yeah.
is super important,
Yeah.
especially through the nighttime. And if you are breastfeeding, you definitely will get hungry in the middle of the night when it seems like the baby's eating even more often in that first week.
Absolutely. I felt like I was constantly hungry. My thing was orange juice and peanut butter toast. Loved it. I lived off of it. It was my favorite thing, and I would ask my husband to bring it up to me all the time I was nursing. It was mostly Lorelei, that's what I loved. I could just never get enough. He'd bring me it all the time, multiple times a day.
That's funny.
So, yeah, you definitely are hungry, for sure.
I always have a box of crackers beside my bed just in case.
Yeah. That too. Yeah.
Water, a full water bottle, and a box of crackers. And then like other stuff I'd still want to eat. But then I always had that, like, if I couldn't get something right away, well, at least I had something then, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's also really good for your milk production for you to be constantly, you know, getting more food,
Mm-hmm. It is important. That's true.
hydrating. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So then, last but not least, point number 10, have things accessible. You want things within easy reach after you have
Yeah.
a baby.
Yeah. Like a diaper changing table. Um, Having a bassinet downstairs or a playpen to put the baby in. Yeah, those kind of things I would say are super valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Having some spit up blankets.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they spit up, and they make messes. And yeah, for sure. It helps.
Yeah.
Less stress.
I know some people who have used those rolling caddies and they put everything on there and then they can roll it from room to room if they
Mhm.
are walking from one place to another.
Absolutely.
I always have two areas set up. I always set up stuff right beside my bed in my room,
Mhm.
and then I have um, part of the living room somewhere where like close to the couch where I have stuff set up.
Yeah.
So I always make sure that includes the diaper stuff,
Mhm.
everything included for diaper changes. So both those areas are always stocked up.
Yeah.
It includes receiving blankets because, like you said, babies spit up a lot.
Mhm.
And you can use as a receiving blankets for so many things. You can use it for spit up, for like just putting over your shoulder or your lap when you're burping baby, because you will need to
Yeah.
burp baby after every feed in the beginning.
That's true. Otherwise,
Um,
they can choke. Yeah.
yeah. And if they get air bubbles inside, then they'll get really irritable and grumpy, and then they might not want to latch anymore. So it's always important to burp them.
Yeah.
But then that can make them spit up. So having something ready for that spit up is important. You can use a receiving blanket just as a regular blanket to cover up baby.
Mhm.
You can use them as a swaddling blanket, even.
So many different
You
options.
can put them underneath baby for changing to protect the couch just in case. Yeah, so many things. And then also having some kind of snack for yourself, like we just talked about, and some water. Always have water bottles
Yeah.
filled up or cups or something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
These are all super important to have.
Absolutely. And like if say there's no kid or whatever to grab you something, it just can save you some cleanup if anything.
Hmm.
I'd say.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep. It helps a little bit to be prepared.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
I get to do this all again pretty soon.
You do. Very, very soon. So crazy. Time just flies.
Does we have 3 more months now?
3.
Yeah, because I think
Yeah, you have like 3 in just like a few days.
a couple more weeks, and then I'll be third trimester.
It's crazy. And this baby could come early. You never know.
Maybe I'm not having high hopes for that though. Like honestly,
Don't have high hopes. No.
my first came a few days early, but that was it. Like,
I know mine too, 4 days early,
like
according to. Yeah.
not that much. And
No.
then my second was well, when I went into labor, 5 days late. Then my third was right on my due date, and then my fourth was a week late. So
I know. So you never know.
I'm not
It's
expecting an
so
early baby,
hard.
but you never know.
You just enjoy the ride.
But what I do know is I will be using all of these tips myself.
Yeah. To keep the sanity.
Yep.
Good plan.
Yep.
Yep.
So, what to expect the first week with a newborn. There you go. That's our
There
top
you go.
10 tips. Hopefully, you guys learned something.
Yeah.
And if there's anything else you think that we should have added to that list, let us know in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
It's always
Mm-hmm.
interesting to see what other people can come up with as well.
Absolutely. We love hearing it all.
Yeah. And if you haven't yet, and you like our content, then make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and share with anybody else you think might be interested. We really
Yeah.
appreciate all of you guys.
Yep.
And it's been so much fun sharing all of these podcasts with everyone.
Yeah, it has been. This is 31, right?
31. 31 episodes now.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, until next time.
What
What the
the mom?